Hello everyone, this is Dave from Dave's Wreaths and Things. Here we go. I finally got my hands on those wire wreath frames in the shape of a cross from the Dollar Tree. I have had a slew of requests for everybody saying, hey, can you make one for us? Can you make one for us? And for the last maybe year and a half, I've been trying to find them. And finally, I found some. So I found three. So guess what we're doing today? We're going to make three different cross wreaths. Why don't I just get started and I'll show you how I put it all together. And of course, I'm going to be using that cross wire wreath frame along with some 2-inch burlap wired ribbon and some of this fun ribbon that I got on Amazon. It's got polka dots and stripes and everything. And I'm going to be using my usual crafting tools. To start off, I wanted to cover the very edges of the wire wreath frame. I'm going to be wrapping this wire frame with the burlap, but I want to make sure that those ends are covered. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little piece of the burlap ribbon and I'm going to wrap it around there, just kind of like a present, gluing it down, and then that's going to cover my edge right there. Once that's all done and dried, I'm going to take that ribbon and I'm just going to glue that on there. And then once it's glued on there and nice and secured, I'm just going to wrap till my heart's content. For this one, I am being a little bit careful when I wrap it. You can kind of see I'm taking my time, getting it into the place that I want it to be. More of a straight line than an angled line. So I'm just going to wrap that whole large piece there. When I come towards that cross part, I'm going to just cross the ribbon and then I'm just going to glue that down as you see here. So I'm just doing like kitty corner, wrapping it around, gluing it in place, chopping it off, and then I'm going to finish wrapping the rest of my wire. And you can see here that I did each one of those ends the exact same way that I did the first end. So I wrap a little piece of ribbon around and then I start wrapping and crossing right at that middle point, just to kind of give it a little bit extra coverage there. And then I'm just going to glue that excess piece down, hold it in place till it's dried, and then I'm going to come back and finish those other arms. Here it is, all done, and now we are all set to start with our bow making for this cross wreath. I am cutting the plain burlap ribbon at 18 inches, and all I do for myself is I just cut one at 18 inches, then I use that as a template and I cut more. And I'm cutting 3 pieces of this plain burlap, and I'm also going to use that as a template to cut the striped burlap. I'm going to cut 2 pieces and then 2 pieces of that checkered. Once that's all done, I'm going to just dovetail each of the ends just to kind of finish it off. And now I have all my pieces ready. So I have ribbon number 1, 2 at 18. Number 2 is 3 at 18, and number 3, 2 at 18 inches. To make our ribbon, I'm just going to fold our little piece of ribbon in half, find the center, and then I'm just going to squish that together, hold it in my hand, and then the other 2 fingers just hold that in place so our loop is at the front or at the top, and then the tails are at the bottom. I'm going to do the same, alternating between all of my ribbons until all of them are used and in my hand. And again, we have all the loops at the top and all the tails at the bottom. And to secure it all together, I'm just going to be using a cable tie. And all you have to do is wrap that cable tie around and pull it a little bit. For this one, I'm not going to pull it all the way because I'm actually going to grab a piece of twine, just a random length, and I'm going to feed it through the cable tie. That's how I'm going to attach it to my wreath. So once that's all in there, then I'm going to pull it really tight and cut off the excess. And now we can start fluffing up our bow. As you all know, I love fluffing bows. It's an addiction of mine. But our bow is now ready for our cross. And really simple, all I'm going to do is take that twine that we attached to our bow, and I'm going to wrap it around the back, tie it in a really nice tight knot, making sure it's nice and secure, and then I'm just going to glue it in place and wait for that to dry. And once it's dry, here we go. Our beautiful, simple, elegant burlap cross wreath. What do you guys think of it? I just love the simplicity of it. I'm a huge fan of burlap and burlap ribbon, so this really appeals to me, and I hope it appeals to you as well. And again, we are using that crosswire wreath frame for our number 2 wreath, along with that burlap wreath that you just saw me use, some lavender in a couple of different styles, and some greenery. I can't remember where I got this, either Dollarama or Dollar Tree, and some miscellaneous ribbon that I had laying around, black ribbon, and then I also have some burlap ribbon that I'm going to be using, and my handy dandy trusted crafting tools to make this project. I am starting off wrapping my frame with the burlap ribbon. I just showed you how I did it in the cross wreath number 1, so I'm not really going to go too much into detail, but I just wrapped it the exact same way I did that first wreath to get this wreath all ready to be decorated. And then I'm going to cut all of my floral picks into the little stems. You can keep them on if you want and just glue the full one on, but I'm going to cut them all with my little handy dandy wire cutters, except for one of the greenery. I'm going to keep one greenery intact. And then my plan of attack for this was to fill it up with lavender and that greenery. So you see I have 2 different lavenders, and my idea was to have the lower level, or I guess the bottom layer, to be the purple lavender, and then the outer layers to be the white and purple lavender. And all I'm doing is I'm just gluing these down. You can kind of see that right here. And then once I'm done, I'm happy with that. I take a look at it and it looks great. I'm really happy with that. So then what I'll do is I will continue doing the same method to the 2 other arms of my cross, adding the lavender and gluing that all in place. And I just love how this turned out. I kind of had a vision in my head, but honestly, I didn't think it would be this good, if I can say that myself. Pat myself on the back. But here you can see I did all the arms, and I also put some more lavender right in the center. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all the greenery right at the bottom. So here's one of the floral picks that I didn't chop down. I'm just attaching that to create some bulk there. And then I'm just going to add on and glue that extra greenery all throughout and just really fill up that space. And once that's all filled, then of course we can come in and we create our little bow. Last little greenery going on there, filling up that space. I'm going to take a look at it, see if I like it. I usually pick it up, and that's a great idea, to pick it up or stand up and then take a look at it as well. Let's create our bow for this, and I didn't measure anything for this. All I'm going to do for this bow is I'm just going to create a loop to see what size I really like, and then I'm just going to fold it into itself. What I want for this is I want 3 loops on each side. So you're going to fold it until you get, there's 1, 2, and 3 loops at each side. And once I have that, I'm just going to cut the excess off. And then I have a little bit left on my roll, so I'm just going to cut a little piece off there. I'm going to fold it at half, and I'm going to create a little knot right in the center. Now, this looks like a bow, but it's not the bow itself. This is just the centerpiece to cut, or to cover, sorry, the cable tie. I'll show you that in a second. Then I'm just going to fold that in half, pinch it in the center. I'm going to grab that cable tie, and then I'm going to place that right around my ribbon. I'm going to take my time with this, and I'm going to squish the center of it. I'm going to make sure that cable tie is centered because I want the bow to be nice and even. So I'm going to take a look at it, and then once I'm happy with that, then I'm actually going to really pull on that cable tie and cut the excess off. And this is the part where that little bow looking piece comes in handy. I'm going to use that to cover that center cable tie. Now, you don't have to tie it with a bow. You can just or tie it with a knot, I should say. You can just put a plain one on there. I just wanted a little bit of detail. That's why I tied the knot right in the center. So I'm going to glue those 2 flaps down, hold that until it's nice and secured. And then of course, once that glue is all dry, we can open up our bow, spread out those little loops, and we have just created our little bow. How cute is this? And so easy to do. You don't have to be a master bow maker to make this bow. And now I'm going to take a length of burlap ribbon. It's about maybe, I don't know, maybe 4 feet long, maybe 3 feet long, somewhere around there. And all I'm going to do with that is I'm just going to tie it right below the cross area, just a simple little knot. And then I'm going to glue that in place just so it doesn't fly all over the place. Let's put it that way. I want it to lay flat, so I'm going to add some glue on there. Now those 2 lengths are actually going to be the tails of our bow, and I'm attaching my bow with some glue from my hot glue gun, and I'm just going to hold it there until it dries. Then a little finishing touch here. I'm going to dovetail both the ends. And one more little touch I'm going to do. I'm actually going to create little bends or little folds in my tails just to create a little bit more interest to those long tails. I don't really do that too much, but I just love how it looks on this particular wreath. Look at that bow. And here we go. Our lavender cross filled with wonderful lavender and greenery. And then of course we have that burlap bow right there with those long tails. I hope you enjoyed this wreath. I had so much fun making this one. And for our third one, we're going to use the same frame. And I found this cotton rope at the Dollarama. I know this is at the Dollar Tree as well. And this tiger lily floral pick. This comes from the Dollar Tree. And of course, I'm going to be using those handy dandy crafting tools today as well. For this one, I'm going to be wrapping that cotton rope around it, but I did want to cover the edge. So what I'm doing is I'm just gluing one little piece at the bottom there as a starter, wrapping that around to the back, gluing that in place. And now I know that frame is going to be covered. And once I have that all dry, I'm going to just start wrapping that cotton cord all the way around. And every now and then I'm actually going to grab my glue gun and throw some glue down just to make sure it's nice and secure and in place. And then I just continue wrapping all the way to the crosshair point, and then I'm going to add some more glue, wrap that around, and then I'm going to go kitty corner and start at the top now, and then add a little bit of glue so I know that it's going to stay in place. And then I just finish wrapping that up and finishing my ends like I did right at the beginning. So you can see I've got that main part done, and now I'm going to work on the sides using the same method. And once I got that all done, there was a little bit of a gap in the middle. So I'm just going to take some excess cord, and then I'm just going to hot glue that right in place. And I just kind of decided, you know what, last minute, really, I'm going to try and see if this worked. And you know what? It totally worked out in the end. I was a little surprised. I was like, that looks good. Way to go, Dave. There we go. We have our corded wrapped cross wreath ready to go and to finish adding those finishing touches. And those finishing touches are those lilies that I have. And I always do a little bit of a dry run first. If you've been watching my channel a little while, you know that I do a dry run all the time on every project that I do. So what I mean is I don't glue anything down. I place everything and I kind of take a look at it and see if I like it. And here's where I kind of decided that the leaves didn't really work, but I loved the placement of the flowers. So I'm going to glue those flowers on, and then I decided I'm going to use some extra leaves that I had kind of laying around. I always keep all of my floral picks after I cut them up, and these came off, I think it was a daisy floral pick if I'm not mistaken. And I had a whole bunch of them left over, and the color just seemed to work a lot better for my eye. And I had a lot of these left over, so I just started gluing those on all the way around at the back, just to kind of bring out that white. And look how those leaves bring out the white and the lilies. I just love how it turned out. So there's a little tip for you. Always save your floral picks because you never know when you're going to need them again. And here we go with our cotton and corded. It's so soft. I love the feel of it. Cross wreath with our lilies right in the center. Again, I love the leaves and how it brought out the color of the lily against that cotton and cord. I think that was a great choice, and I'm so happy I had those laying around. So which one do you think is your favorite out of the 3 cross wreaths today? Let me know right down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching and joining me today. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be notified whenever I upload a new project. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye for now.